Morning, Rock Hill. Pastor Kyle here with your Monday morning sermon recap. Yesterday we looked at Romans 10 and focused in on God's global emphasis on how the gospel is good news for all people in all nations. And then the question was, how do people come to know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior? And the simple answer is someone goes to them and tells them about it. And that is our great privilege and task as the Church of Jesus Christ. And that as a church, we want to be faithful both in going across the street and being faithful going across nations and continents and oceans in order to bear witness to the gospel of Jesus, share the good news. How can they hear unless someone preaches? And so how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. As we thought about being global Christians, there was essentially four categories that we can find ourselves in. We can be a goer, we can be a sender, we can be a welcomer, or we can be a mobilizer. A goer is someone who prepares and feels called of God to actually leave their context and go. They often spend many years training in order to do so fruitfully. It's what we typically think of when we think of a missionary. A sender is probably the majority of people who don't necessarily personally feel called to go, but feel called to send with prayer and finances and ongoing encouragement. And at Rock Hill, we're hoping to develop some advocacy and encouragement teams for those that we send. Third is a welcomer, as we realize that the nations have come to us. We don't even have to leave our city in order to bear witness to the gospel of Jesus among the nations. And so a welcomer is someone who specifically sees those who are here as students and through work and intentionally pours their life into those to make Christ known to those people. And then finally, a mobilizer is someone who, rather than going themselves, dedicates much of their life to training and recruiting people who will go in their stead. And so whatever God has called you to inhabit, He has called you to be a global Christian. Charles Spurgeon said, every Christian is either a missionary or an imposter. And so that means both local and global emphasis, that we want to bring Jesus to the nations, and we want to bring Jesus across the street. So it's a great passage in Romans 10. I just want to invite you next week as we look at Matthew 24 and about how we can finish the task that God has given us. Love you guys. Hope you have a great week.